going to show you a compatibility metric that will blow your mind. It's going to give you a very clear indication whether or not you and this person you're interested in are actually compatible. But you're going to want to stick around for step number 2. This is if the compatibility is not quite the same, what do you do, and does it mean the relationship is doomed? No, it doesn't. And we're going to dive into how we can actually get into that compatible state, even if it's not there already. You see, when it comes to connections and relationships, the intimacy, the romance, those things find their balanced, settling ground. It's kind of like sand being dropped into water. Right in the beginning, it's experienced in its chaos, and that romance just does what it needs to do. It makes it feel fun, it makes it feel light, but eventually it settles down. So once all of that fun stuff is done, what's left to sustain the relationship? And that's what this whole model is about. I can't wait to take you through it. Let's get into it. The whole concept starts with RISES, R-I-S-E-S, and what it actually stands for is recreation, intellect, spirituality, so your beliefs, emotional intelligence, and sexuality. That sexuality we can translate into intimacy because it's a little bit deeper than just sex. And these 5 questions you can ask your partner are going to give you clarity on what lasts, and I'm going to explain how it all works. Starting off with recreational. What do they love to do for fun? Now, often relationships or connections start off with us exploring this concept. What do we like to do for fun? If the idea for a first date is to go bowling and watch a movie, and that's boring to the person, it becomes very clear early on that the connection's not quite what it needs to be. And that's because the R, the fun, the recreational side of things, is not compatible. What you do for fun is the start of a healthy connection, making sure you understand what that is with each other and by yourself. If your idea of having fun is reading a book or tanning by the pool, and your partner's idea of fun is going out with friends, getting really drunk, or hopping out of airplanes to skydive, you guys have a mismatch there, and that's going to manifest really early into the relationship. The next one we dive into is intellect. You'll generally get an understanding of how intelligent someone is with conversation and with going out with them a few times. And this is really the reason you don't want to rush into bed with anyone, because oftentimes men want to feel the compatibility through intimacy before they go through the rest of this. Women have a different understanding of it, and that's why you want to stick to this exact order of things to get an understanding before you have that deep, intimate connection that may not work out. So intelligence is so important. If you are way more intelligent than your partner, or they are way more intelligent than you, your connection is going to be dulled, because your expression of this intelligence, and the place you want to do that first is going to be with your partner, is not going to land the right way. And that's going to be a problem moving into the future. You should be able to express the deepest parts of the way you think, and for your partner to be a good soundboard and reflection of your understanding. So intelligence is really important. And that's what you want to figure out, is what is their level of smarts? Where are they intellectually and intelligently? Is it actually going to work out? This will show itself in conversation. So the question you kind of want to ask are things that lead to show you how intelligent they are. What do they aspire to become? What are their ambitions? What did they study and what are they passionate about? These things are going to give you clues to the level of intelligence you guys are meeting at. Next, we get into spirituality. Also, your belief systems. If you two do not have the same belief systems or similar belief systems, this can create major compatibility issues. For example, if someone doesn't believe in a higher power, or they're atheist or agnostic, maybe they believe in it but there's no conviction, then the way they behave is going to shift based on what they believe in. This is one of the deepest behavioral things that happen, because it's often taught to us very young. And we taught to believe in what our parents and surroundings believe in. So if our parents don't believe in anything, we don't believe anything. And for example, a thing like fear will have a different relationship with that person than it might be for somebody who lives in faith. Someone who lives in faith has a different relationship with fear. So what's going to happen is a great misunderstanding when your partner wants to express that they are scared of things going wrong. and you're kind of like, oh, well, have faith, things are going to be better. That's your advice as a partner. But to them, they don't believe in anything. They believe in chaos, and you can see how that's going to create a major issue. This takes a little bit longer than the first two. That's why it's so important to do it in this order. Once you know you enjoy each other's company for the fun you guys have, and then for the intelligence you both share, understanding what fuels their beliefs is going to propel you into a new depth of the connection. And this might be a point where you go, I don't want that. And that's why it's important to do it this way. Next, we get into what that is generated by. Your beliefs and your emotions make up one whole. They're two halves of one story. This is the core of where you behave from. So if you have an emotional intelligence, that means you can understand people and empathize with them, and someone else is very logical and they don't ever delve into that, you are going to be misunderstood in your connection. You're going to be perceived as extremely emotionally volatile. And this is something that's obviously going to create a compatibility issue. You need someone who has the same level of emotional depth as you. It's not about being exactly the same and you guys completely get each other on every level, because then what's the point in a relationship if you completely understand one another and there's no discovery? So what it comes down to is, how in touch with how you feel are you? Are you somebody who's petrified of feeling things, or are you somebody who's okay to go through difficult emotional things? If you are both at different levels, this is going to be a problem. So that's what you want to make sure is definitely at the same level. And the way you can kind of figure this out is by asking them, how do you feel about this? And if they go, I feel like I can solve it by doing 1, 2, and 3, and they got a logical step, you want to look at the fact that they feel they can solve it. That is where the emotional energy lies, in what it enables them to do. If someone feels like a victim all the time, and they walk around and the world happens to them and not for them, and you see challenges as opportunities to grow, it's very difficult to communicate how to embody and enjoy the negative space, because it's only uplifting you to a new height. So emotions are so important. And then we dive into the most exciting part for all relationships, is that intimacy. Now this comes down into what your love languages are, and it's a really great thing you can do. You can Google it, like what is my love language quiz, and you can do this with your partner. And if you guys have a similar way of understanding giving love and receiving love, there's a really great opportunity there for compatibility. That's sort of the emotional side extending into the sexual side. When it comes to sexual compatibility, if you have someone who's very free and comfortable in themselves, and the other partner is very conservative, then one of them is going to be sexually unfulfilled. And intimately, if it's about physical touch, and the way you express love is by holding and cuddling and showing with love with your hands, like that sort of expression, the person on the receiving end of that, if they feel overwhelmed by that, you can see how the compatibility is going to be an issue. Now, if you're in a situation where these things don't align, which I've been in, and my ex and I are on such good terms now because we've come to understand this about one another, and knowing that we need and want different things from a relationship, there is a way you can try to repair it. And what it ultimately comes down to is what you are willing to change about yourself. How much of yourself are you willing to change to meet their rises? It's kind of like, are you prepared to go skydiving? Is that something you'd be excited to go and experience? If all of the things that they want to do for fun are uninteresting to you already, what could you try and clue yourself up on to be there? And the best shift you can make is by sacrificing up to the degree where you lose your authenticity. For example, if your idea is of reading a book, it doesn't mean you don't have to read a book. That can just be your own version of fun, because you may enjoy long drives out to wine farms or something like that together. That's okay too. It doesn't matter what it is. It just matters that you're still being fulfilled from yourself. And this is where things actually get easy. If you're focused on filling your own cup by meeting your own standards for rises, then what happens is a person with different tastes and different versions of it can be an addition to the way you do it already. And this is how you can actually shift it, by knowing what you're willing to sacrifice to be more similar to them, but without sacrificing your authenticity. The non-negotiable point is, I still need to fill my own cup and do what's good for me. If you can do that in the relationship, the compatibility can stand true, even if everything isn't in exactly the same place. If there's a disparity in some of them, this is how you actually work on it. And this will give you a lot of clarity when trying to understand if you're truly compatible. If you've enjoyed this video and don't want to miss out on another video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, and turn your notifications on. I hope to see you all in the comment section, on my subscriber list, and on the next video. Thanks for watching. Mad love and light.